You're watching Real Flix Reviews. This week we're in the theater watching Dark Knight Rises with Christian Bale, Tom Hardy, and Anne Hathaway. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and the man who would be Queen, Ryan Preston. Before we review this week's movie, Dark Knight Rises, I wanted to give a small annoyance of what happened today as we were watching the movie Dark Knight Rises. I don't know about in your local theater, but one of our local theaters now, that everybody who has a bag, which generally seems to be women, they have to open their purses to get searched by the ticket person.
Yep.
That bugs the living crap out of me. Not only that, I think it's an invasion of privacy. I don't know how James or Ryan feels about it, but if they start telling me to turn out my pockets, I'm not going to go to theater.
No, yeah, it's going to be a boycott. That's a full-on invasion of privacy. They really should not have any right to do that, just because then it's basically saying everybody is a criminal.
What about you, Ryan?
And I hate to always bring up, or not always bring up, but I hate to bring up the slippery slope arguments that everybody always likes to get into, because they're always kind of end on bullshit. But really, what the hell? Where does this end?
Exactly.
I mean, in movie theaters. At movie theaters now.
I know Ryan's seen it. Hold on.
Okay.
But I know Ryan's seen this. I don't think you have, but it's really funny. And if you watch the TSA South Park episode, it really gets into it. I mean, because where are we going to go? Are we going to be able to even go to the bathroom without the government being in there checking our buttholes?
Now,
excuse me, sir. I'd like to look in your butthole.
Here's my question. Here's my question, Ryan. If anybody's not aware of it, Ryan lives near Los Angeles. One of the reasons we do this via Skype. And do most of the theaters you go to, do they have metal detectors? Because around here they don't.
No, hell no. I could go to a theater in Compton 10 minutes from here and not have to walk through a metal detector in a movie theater. I mean, even
they might give you a gun for your protection, but
watching a movie, you just paid $12. Nobody wants to start shit in a movie theater.
Allegedly.
I mean, there's better places to do something, but to have any kind of reaction like this on a guy who is just crazy or mentally imbalanced, somebody who needed psychiatric help, and say that it was about gun laws or about lack of security at movie theaters and something like that.
Yeah.
You know, when Lincoln got shot, we didn't start beefing up fucking security at whatever theater he was at. I mean, it was a freak occurrence that happened, and people are taking it in a way different direction than it should be, as opposed to this kid needed help. He didn't get it when he needed it, and he did some crazy shit. It happened to be the movie.
And it's not to downplay that this was...
What were we talking about?
This was a horrible incident.
Absolutely
very horrible, but that does not mean that you take it out on everybody else, especially law-abiding citizens. That's what really pisses me off.
Here's the synopsis, at least I mean, this is just for me personally. The reason why this is annoying is when you go see a movie, generally it's to escape, or it's a story. You want to be engrossed in the movie, whether it's good or bad, just to sit for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and really enjoy it. Yeah. And this is what I'm afraid of. That if you start getting searched and screened, you're going to be so irritated, so anguished, or so annoyed by the time it takes to get in the theaters that it's going to ruin your experience. Or they're going to have these guys in flashlights in the theater. That's why it bugs me.
You out of the frame of mind of about ready to watch a movie. You're absolutely right.
And that's what it bugs me about it, is because I'm afraid it's going to ruin the experience of a movie, which is something I still enjoy. I still go to movies, the theaters, and not just for the show. So
that's good. That's a good point. Yeah.
So if you guys don't have any more opinions on that, I think I'll start the review.
Yeah, I'm good.
Please, feel free.
Okay.
So the movie was Dark Knight Rises. This takes 8 years after the last one, and a new terror leader, Bane, overwhelms Gotham's finest, and the Dark Knight resurfaces to protect a city that has branded him an enemy, which is a very simple over synopsis of it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's a very
simplified. Yeah.
So who wants to go first on their points? I can go first if you'd like.
I can talk all day, so if anybody wants to jump in before I start fucking letting loose, man, feel free.
I'll go. I have a couple of points. I don't have a whole lot. Mm-hmm. One of them is I still love Christopher Nolan's color palette.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It doesn't have it's not Green Street Hooligans surrealist color palette. I think it's the perfect combination of realism versus comic book. It doesn't have it doesn't have the color like Avengers had, which I thought was too cartoony at times.
Oh yeah, it was way bright.
Yeah.
So I thought this was a pretty good combination without being really super gritty.
And it wasn't Tim Burton's, straight up black and white color palette either. It was kind of shades of gray, which brought you somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, which I think fits the character of Batman better, personally. The other one is I still love the look and feel of the Batman character, the arsenal, the overall characteristics.
I agree.
I really enjoy Christopher Nolan's version of Batman.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, you don't have like the Chris O'Donnell bat nipples from the other Batmans.
Oh, jeez, why are you bringing that into this?
You don't have Alicia Silverstone,
who surprisingly didn't have nipples on.
Hey, I'm Barbara Gordon. Hey, Uncle Bruce, I found your bat cave.
Yeah.
Well, she was Alfred's niece.
Yeah, and this one.
Oh yeah, Uncle Alfred. Yeah.
Yeah, and that one. The other one. This is my opinion. This may be a contrary opinion to some of you guys out there. I was not a fan of the introduction of how they introduced Catgirl, Anne Hathaway into the story. It seemed it seemed very one-dimensional, and I just thought the character growth and overall, I just thought it was lacking. I thought it was very piss poor. I liked the character, but overall, I just thought it was sad.
Yeah, I kind of go with you on that one. I had my points on her as well.
Ryan?
I'm gonna go with best Selina Kyle I've ever seen. I'll agree with you on the introduction of her character was a little bit kind of thin, but then it gave you the points that you needed to get to the next thing, and then you just kind of got to know a little bit about her, and it just touched on a lot of the folklore as far as she's always kind of been in love with Batman for a number of reasons, but still kind of. We can't use guns, bummer kind of thing,
True. I mean, it wasn't Michelle Pfeiffer's, naughty.
Right,
Catwoman.
yeah, it wasn't supernatural, fell from a building, licked by magical cats, and woke up.
And my other one is, I don't remember.
The cat litter.
I don't remember who played Talia, Ra's al Ghul's daughter.
Oh, yeah, we're just jumping right into that spoiler, huh?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, spoilers.
There's spoilers in here, yeah.
But, it's been long enough. If you haven't fucking seen Dark Knight by now, then you deserve to have that part spoiled.
Well, just to warn you, most of our shows are spoilers, but...
Yeah. I think our requirement is like, hey, you might want to check the movie out, and then
Was the chick who played Talia, was she more prevalent in the story? I don't remember, besides being at the ending.
Really?
Was she the scientist?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's who I thought
she was. The woman that was trying to. She was like funding one of his projects.
Yeah, she was the one.
Okay, she was Amanda Taggart.
Yeah, she was from the whole beginning. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, sorry
beginning
about
to
that.
end, guys. Yeah,
but damn, she sucked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that maybe it was because it was such an unforgettable role that I completely spaced out that she was kind of in the beginning and she's an arbitrary important character.
Kind of forgettable as
basically.
Far as but I think that was
the point
of
though.
Their intention.
That was the point.
I think they overdid it. I think she should at least stand out a little bit as kind of the she wants to save the earth, kind of that type of role she was playing.
I mean, just opposite of Talia al Ghul.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. They might have gone a little bit far with it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just really biased towards the whole twist of.
I think you are. I'm gonna have to go after John.
Talia al Ghul? Is that where they're really going with this? And yeah.
And the other one is okay. This is another spoiler. Is the fall and rise, the kind of death and resurrection of Batman scene. I thought, I don't know, maybe it's because the second one was so amazing, but I thought the part where he ended up the pit and crawled out of it, I just thought the whole scene was stupid.
Well, the whole time he was down in the pit, huh?
I thought that was whole. I just thought that was lame. I get it, because it's an introduction to how do you defeat Bane, but overall, I was really disappointed.
Felt kind of obligatory as far as like, this is the Rocky training scene kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like watching an '80s movie all over again.
I could see that. I kind of had a little bit of an impression of that. Are you done?
One more that I just thought of.
I didn't want to jump into mine too fast, I was going to kind of transition there.
This is the last one. As I was writing it down, just a second ago, I realized it. There was no Venom.
You just stole one of my points.
There was absolutely no Venom.
You just thought about that?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well,
All right. So hold on.
And that's all my points.
This is a bad thing, aren't we?
We're gonna come back to this, okay? All right. So my first impression of this movie was the beginning of this movie was slow. Or not slow. I'm sorry. It's slow. It slowed down towards the end. Sorry, I totally screwed that up, guys. What I meant was in the beginning of it felt rushed, and then it slowed down. Like there was so much like kind of going on, introductions of the Bane character. It was basically like they were trying to give you an impression of what those whole 8 years were.
Yeah, I'll agree with
like
that.
half an hour. And then transition it out of that.
Trying to shove a lot of story into that.
Yeah, and I think that could have been done a little bit better. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, because we watched the movie today and we're going off of it today, so I haven't really had that much time to process and kind of think about how it could have been done.
I think in Christopher Nolan's defense, it's a 2-hour and 45-minute movie.
That's
the problem. Unless he wanted to go the role of Peter Jackson, which I'm fine with, but not a lot of people would do it.
Such a huge story to tell, and I agree. They might have been trying to shove a lot of information into certain parts, but damn, there was a lot going on.
Exactly, and I agree with that. So,
you have a lot of canon for for his version of it.
Yeah,
and I don't blame him. I mean, I think they could have done it a different way, but I'm Monday night quarterbacking it.
Yeah. I'm hard pressed to find out how much better they could have gotten it.
The other thing is Catwoman, like John was mentioning, is there was. I don't think as much of John's thing as that there was. Sure, character was completely one-dimensional, because as far as my impression has always been about the Catwoman storyline is that there's a lot of character development that takes place over a long period of time.
Yeah.
A lot. And they fall in love over a long period of time. I don't think Batman fell in love with her really at all. I think he liked her. He couldn't make up his mind about her. He really trusted her way too fast for Batman, to be honest. Sorry.
Well, I think
Nolan.
He was just kind of impressed on a certain level, and kind of like how girls like bikers. It's the same kind of thing. He's just into the bad girl for the moment.
Okay, all right. Anyways, but so that was a little bit wishy-washy for me. I can take it or leave it. The problem I have with this character is, sorry, I did not find her sexy.
I've always thought she was cute. So
no, I didn't find her sexy in this role.
Maniac.
I didn't. I mean, her Catwoman.
I'll cut you a little bit of slack, but
her Catwoman wasn't trashy like Halle Berry. It wasn't annoying like the one that you just brought up. I can't think of her name. I keep on forgetting today.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Well, yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer's was more of a BSDM.
Yeah, it was kind of stupid. Her character was kind of like she just like a mental disorder. Actually,
she's a dominatrix cat.
Yeah, well, I think in the movie she pulled out some old Halloween costume or something, right?
Yeah. Old Halloween costume with thimbles and little spikes that she made out of something.
She filed down.
If you're not sure what they're talking about, that's the Tim Burton version, not the current one.
Yeah,
Jesus.
And then I mean, the Halle Berry one is just so. Honestly, I think she's actually one of the best Catwoman characters of all time, except for I would have to go back to the Batman and bring up some of those Catwomen.
I wish I remembered her name.
I wish I did too. I was almost going to look it up. There was two of them. Anyway, there was one that was really good and then there was one that was really bad. Anyway, I can't remember their names right off the top of my head. But those were the good Catwomans that I actually enjoyed from being a little kid.
Sure,
so,
yeah, those seasons of that show played so damn often on cable.
Anyway, so that was that part.
A lot of her introduction to Batman.
Another part that I got to bring up, guys, I don't know if John noticed it. I would be very surprised if you didn't notice it, Ryan, is when he goes in to meet Lucius Fox in the first scene of this movie where he's sitting down across from the desk from him. I don't know who the editor was who did that scene, but go back and check your work. Because there's a big mistake in there. The cane, where his hand is on the cane.
Oh, Jesus.
When Lucius Fox is looking at him, and then you go from Batman's view, there's no hand on the cane. That bugged me. I'm sorry, that bugged me.
Picky.
It just kept on annoying me. Sorry, guys, but that one kind of stuck out in my mind, and that's still bugging me. And I mean,
see, I think that's a little. I mean, I think that's a little thing. I mean, it's not like broken window, non-broken window.
I know,
broken
but that was part of what it felt like to me, though, because I'm trying to pay attention to the dialogue here. And like they'll go to Bruce Wayne's view, and there's no hand on the cane. I'm like, what the heck happened? And I mean, the cane is like taking up part of the screen. Sorry, that just bugged me.
I was really hoping that would be like a bat cane, like it was.
Anyway, okay, and the other part that I wasn't a big fan of, I really want to see. I mean, if they pick up and go with this one, that might be cool. But is this guy that's not Dick Grayson but Robin whatever? Is he supposed to be Nightwing?
No, he's not supposed to be Nightwing. Dick Grayson is Nightwing. Tim Drake. Not Blake. Tim Drake is the predecessor. Not the predecessor. The protege of Nightwing or of Dick Grayson.
Well, here's the thing. This is what
Dick Grayson, then Tim Drake.
But this guy,
this fucking John Blake. I have no idea who the hell this guy is.
Here's my idea, and I think they tell you in the Ra's al Ghul. And in some of the other scenes, it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He was the guy from Third Rock from the Sun. He was the kid.
I know who he is.
This is what my idea was, because it plays off the beginning when Bruce Wayne was looking for a symbol that would never die. I think basically what it is this was Batman handing him the torch to become Batman.
Really?
That was what I got out of it.
That's what I was thinking, but I'm really hoping it's not.
I think, but
because if you pay attention, I did a little research beforehand. I have for the last couple of months goofing around, and in this actual Batman, in the Batman versus Bane, when Batman breaks his back,
right,
that he has somebody actually take his place. And there's been a couple of times in the canon of the story from the comic books that Bruce Wayne is not Batman because of something happened. So I'm assuming that's part of the story that he's taking, that Blake's going to be the next broke Batman, because without Wayne Industries.
Yeah, I think, but it's left really kind of open to interpretation, and I don't know. He might have even done it just to piss people off. But
and no.
Chick at the end was like, "Oh, you should use your real name. It's nice." And then they're like, "Robin." And they're like, "Oh, okay, but his real name was never fucking Robin, assholes."
Thank you.
They did that just to play with the audience.
Yeah, that kind of irked me a little bit, because I'm like, I could tell what was going on the whole time. I could tell that was what was going on. Either he was going to become a protege of Batman, or he was going to become Robin. Now, one of the things that I kind of picked up on is it obviously looks like Nolan jumped on this thing of taking some Batman Beyond influences, and you can see that in his plane concept.
In his what?
In the bat plane.
Oh yeah.
If you look at the bat plane and then you look at the concepts that were done for the Batman Beyond plane, they're very, very similar.
Fuck, do you come up with new bat gear, man?
I understand.
It's like coming up with new James Bond shit. I mean,
did somebody
has got to have a pain in the ass job after 30 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Did somebody turn off the lights in the room you're in, Ryan?
No, but I'll tell you what, it got dark. Give me 1 second.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I just realized I can't see him on the screen. So,
anyways, okay. So the other thing that I was going to come up with was about Bane and the fact that there was no Venom. That honestly didn't bother me as much as I thought it would, because I noticed it early on. Ryan, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure. I just looked up and I'm like, oh, he's still not there. Okay. So anyway, that didn't bug me as much. The other part is, now I knew what the heck was going on early. I already had figured out that what's her name? I don't know the name. Talia was Ra's al Ghul's daughter. I already figured that whole part out. I already understood all of that, had all that, but Jen, my wife, who went with us, she had no concept of this. So that was a good twist and turn for her that she didn't see coming. Yeah, and I kind of was like,
was she familiar with the whole Ra's al Ghul storyline and what he meant to the canon, or
she has no concept about that. She had no concept about who that was, but she understood Ra's al Ghul.
And Batman Begins.
But she remembered it from that, but she didn't. Okay. She doesn't know it from anything else.
She remembers it from this version.
Yeah, from this version. She doesn't know it from anything else.
Okay.
But yeah, I knew what was going on, so that was kind of cool. Anyway, but Yeah, there were some things that I could that didn't bug me that much. I was a little bothered by the bat plane. It kind of looked like you're looking at the underside of a lawnmower most of the time. To be honest.
If you could explain to me the mask, was that basically just shooting oxygenized painkillers?
No, it's something like that. She said that it alleviates the pain.
Well, no, he said if he takes it off, it would be very painful. I think it's more like a rebreather or some type of a respirator.
He actually said that it makes the pain not so bad.
Yeah, it takes pain away.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
yeah, that's what it said. So it's got to be something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it is like a rebreather. I don't know.
Yeah, some type of thing. But dude, how freaking badass was Bane's voice, man? I don't know what your opinions on it was, but I thought it added so much.
I actually liked it.
You could hear him a lot more than you could Christian Bale.
Oh yeah, I gotta say I like his voice over Christian Bale's voice.
Hello, because he sounded like a 20-pack-a-day smoker. I mean, that's always been my number one complaint in the trilogy.
Yeah, that's been my complaint.
You try to find a good way to disguise your voice that you can do all the time. You know.
He could have been.
Yeah, but do that all the time. You're Batman fucking a lot. You're going out every night. You want to do that voice every night?
Hey, you better stop over there.
You're Bruce Wayne. Your suit by itself costs $20 quadrillion. You couldn't come up with some temporary voice changer you could strap onto your suit? Really?
How much did you guys want that little button he had that turned off all the cameras?
Yeah. That was awesome.
EMP.
That was so cool. All right, so Ryan, it's all you now. Tell us how much of a fanboy you are.
Okay, well, let me just start by saying I spent close to over a year. I probably over a year hiding my eyes and ears from anything related to this movie, so I can be fresh-eyed and be there with bells on when this damn thing came out, because I don't really like movies to be ruined for me. The only thing that I saw of this was the original teaser trailer. I think it was the one where it was just a couple of audio clips from The Dark Knight, and then he falls down into some kind of place where he's about to fight Bane, but that's it. It cut away.
That's kind of what I saw too.
So going into it completely fresh with no idea of really where they were going to go with this story, other than the possible anticipation of the whole back-breaking thing. But I'm thinking, he's probably not going to fucking kill bats. I was so impressed by just about everything in this movie, as far as like you said, they were trying to tell a huge story in kind of, I wouldn't say a limited amount of time, because they took 3 hours.
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Hey, James, his fanboy's leaking.
Yeah, you got a little stuff right here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, go on.
But I like the whole Dent angle that everybody was still on.
I like that. It was a good carryover.
Everybody who was reprising a character in this did great, and I thought it was really fantastic how they kind of brought everybody's character up another notch as far as like what you know about these people and things like that. The whole
question. Hold on. Sorry. When Bane read what really happened, Commissioner Gordon had a script speech talked about the real Dent.
Yeah.
Did that ever pay off? Was that just nonsensical?
Or something? Didn't he throw some of that in there? Or am I just thinking he was something else?
I don't remember.
I don't think so.
What do you mean it paying off?
Well, like the him using that because it would seem because the cops are covering up who Dent really was. They could have used that because I don't remember that.
Well, the cops didn't attack Batman later on when he was fighting with them. And then I can't think of the guy's name. The Third Rock character, Blake was yelling at Gordon over it, but I don't know whether any other payoff than that. So it did change the citizens' minds a little bit about how bad Batman was, but it didn't take away from anything that the cops did. I don't think.
Okay, because I was wondering. I don't remember that actually paying off. I'm sorry, Ryan.
No, that's cool.
It got the inmates riled up.
I really liked the idea that Bane, because this was a really, really new idea of Bane than anybody else had really ever tried before. As far as
yeah,
I really liked the he was a bodyguard for for Talia when she was in the prison, and he was born in this prison too. I mean, just born into the darkness. I love that whole angle.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you might have picked it up sooner, I don't know about, but when Bruce had the whole vision of Ra's al Ghul in the cave, and he was like, "Oh, the son was yours," and I'm like, "Wait a second, Ra's al Ghul never had a son; he had a daughter." And then it clicked. I was like, "Oh shit, okay, that's where we're going with this." And then it hit me that the woman that was trying to go for the reactor, the nuclear reactor, was Talia.
Oh, I picked it up before that.
Damn, I'm dense. Of course I didn't even think about that.
Weird. But
I started getting inklings like the third time she was on the screen.
Well, you knew that she was something, but I didn't know because she seemed kind of she played the antithesis of that Talia al Ghul character pretty decent.
Yeah,
so
she
I didn't
did.
know which angle that was being headed. I don't have too many quibbles with this movie other than the Blake thing. As far as him being Robin, I could have done without, but I'm talking that's 8 seconds worth of this film that I have a quibble with, and it's a minor thing.
I was really hoping that she was going to call him Detective. That's what I really wanted.
I don't think she ever called him Detective in the...
No, Ra's al Ghul did, but he never did anyways in the movies, so...
Yeah.
Personal quibble.
What's it called? I loved the Alfred angle of you really see how deep his loyalty goes and his affection for Bruce goes.
That was the best part of the movie, I thought.
Oh man, it was epic. That shit fucking touched me, man.
Because because Alfred by itself was always that a secondary, one-dimensional. You got to see how much the reason why he stayed when he does. That was the part I liked.
You got to see Alfred was always part mentor, but part therapist, part doctor.
He was everything.
Scientist. I mean, just the guy that needs to think outside of the box when Bruce and he was the other half of Batman. It couldn't have been done obviously without him, but that showed like no, look, I mean, been serving your family for X amount of years. This is more to me than this stupid Batman thing.
Exactly.
And where that story ended up ending up was freaking. I thought it was a great way to end a 3-movie series when it's like, look, this is going to be your end one. This is one you go out on. Most people don't know that. Most people do a sequel to a movie and they think, oh, there's always room for another one. I could always leave it open for something else. But this, knowing that he was ending it, I thought he did a fucking great job tying up some loose ends and still leaving it open, not for another movie, but just open to your mind's interpretation. And Nolan, I don't know, man, what a damn good filmmaker this guy was. And fucking thank that guy for making these movies.
Yeah. I don't know about you three, but this is you two, but this is personally my favorite ever Batman. All 3 movies are the best Batman movies made. They could never make another one, and I would be happy, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like everybody says, oh, this isn't your dad's Batman and stuff like that, and I've heard some old people, kind of argue like, oh, why does everything have to be dark and brooding and whatever? It's like, well, because that's what we sort of wanted to see. I mean, like as kids, we like Batman and we like the fantasy and we like this could be us one day, if obviously your parents were murdered and you were super rich, but he was still human. I'm
glad this isn't my dad's Batman. My dad grew up in the 60s. That definitely.
God, I don't like I can't say my dad's Batman. My dad's Batman was a old cartoon book that was barely scratched out.
Sure, but I mean, look, James, you're what, 30, right?
What?
You're 30?
Yeah, I'm 30.
And Charney, you're 30 or something.
Correct.
I'm 27. We're adults, and we should have left Batman behind when we were 13. But somehow there keeps being these interesting things to come out with them, and this sort of being the one that as adults, people who still think about Batman as adults are like, oh, I wish it would kind of be this or just this based in reality, or I always thought it was a little more plausible than how they portrayed it. I thought it was what we always wanted to see.
I agree.
So, I mean, John brought it up about the trilogy of this. This, for me, trilogy-wise, you brought it up very well. Of all the nitpicking that I can do about this movie, about certain things that I didn't like or liked, what I'm comparing this to as audience, so that the audience understands, is I'm not comparing this movie to any other Batmans except for the two Nolan Batmans preceding this.
Yeah, you got to compare it to something it's like.
If this one of the three was the only Batman that Nolan had done, this one would stand way above any Batman movie or TV show, except for the '90s Batman. That's the pinnacle of Batman's out there.
Are you talking about
the animated series?
I'm talking about the animated series.
You got to be very specific when you say the 90s
I was going to
Batman.
get there. I was going to come back to that one. The '90s animated series. But so that right there is saying something quite a bit. This is the best trilogy that I can say out there that I've seen.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with it. And one more, and just reiterate something I was saying is just. It had a beginning, it had a middle, and it had a fucking end, which very few things give kind of a defined end.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's wonderful things happen when you give writers a chance to wrap up a story. You know?
Yeah.
So, what do you give this movie, Ryan?
Bloody 4.
Out of 1 out of 5, what do you give Dark Knight Rises?
4. Solid, like damn near 5. But I mean, you know, I think I reserve 5 for just like.
So here's the question. Out of all 3, if you add them up, what do you give the trilogy itself?
The trilogy itself, oh man, I probably a 5 altogether, just because I don't know too many people I wouldn't recommend this to. And I mean, I'm talking people who I know who are like, oh, fuck these comic book movies and you grown-ass men with your toys and your Batman and Superman. It's like, no, you'll still like this movie too, buddy. I'm pretty sure.
So James, what do you give the Dark Knight Rises?
This one, out of the whole series, I give this one a 3. Sorry, Ryan, I got to give the other 2.
Hey, look, 4s. I mean that's.
But if I was going to give this whole trilogy, if I was going to average it out, it would be a 4. But I actually would personally like to give this whole trilogy a 5. If I averaged it, it would be a 4. But I'm saying 5.
Okay, so you're giving it the. Overall, on our scale, you give it a 4, but on just the I love it factor.
Well, if I was to take each movie single, and Batman Begins, I would give that a 4. The Dark Knight, I'd give that one a 4. Dark Knight Rises, I give that one a 3. So if I averaged it, it would be a 4. But I'm saying as far as the trilogy goes, as Ryan says, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and this one would be the end. As far as if I take that whole thing, the whole thing gets a 5.
I'm almost an exact copy of James. I give this movie a 3. It is not my favorite one. The second one, the Joker and Heath Ledger, is
Ledger, amazing job.
That one is my favorite. So I give this one a 3. But the overall, the last 3 movies, the trilogy, I have to give it a 5.
Yeah.
Overall, just because I love this blows out my previous favorite. Tim Burton's just out of the water.
Actually, I have to take that back. I can't give the first one and the second one the same number. I'd have to give the middle one a 5. But just coming off of it, thinking about it now,
So and we're a little over. Do you have? What about your movie notes?
Well, my movie notes are going to be pretty short. Ryan, you can go ahead. The reason why this is just going to be a pretty short one is because I have to go back and have to apologize because I actually made it sound like the Guillermo del Toro movie was going to be a live action. It is not going to be a live action. It's going to be a stop motion.
Oh, okay.
And the webpage that Ryan is looking at actually has a picture at the top of the characters of the stop motion. And that's what they look like.
Wow.
That's what they're going to look like.
Which movie is this for?
That's Pinocchio, guys. This is the Pinocchio that's coming out in about 2014. Guillermo del Toro is a big fan of stop-motion comics, or cartoons, or whatever you want to call them.
That's a twisted Pinocchio.
And this Pinocchio is going to be rated about a PG-13. That's what he's shooting for. This is not going to be the Disney thing. His favorite 2 stories out there are Frankenstein and Pinocchio. So if you basically combine those, that's kind of where he's taking this, is into a world like that. And he's going for scary moments. He's going for a darker, more realistic type of version of this story.
I apologize for this in advance. So he's going to have Woody. See?
Are you done?
Yeah, okay. I apologize.
Moving along, but I wanted to get your guys' impression of what you guys think of looking at the stop motion. And for audience members, you can go out and actually go find out and see the screenshots.
We'll try to post a link for the article on our site.
But what do you think of that picture, Ryan?
Interesting. Like I mean, it's it's definitely probably the way to go. Because I mean, look at the story you're trying to tell.
Exactly.
I mean, people have tried to do. Well, one guy tried to do it in regular movies with
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah. Why did you bring that up, dude? I had stricken that from my memory.
Because you got to compare and contrast similar items. It's Pinocchio.
All right.
But other than the cartoon, that's the only the thing that people remember. And but I mean, look. Bottom line, you give this kind of a story to a guy like Guillermo del Toro, who's known for doing wildly original shit.
Yeah.
Insanely so, and then it's like, okay, now take wild originality on one side, and then you take a story that's old as shit. You know, I wonder what's going to come out. I wonder where in the middle this is going to fall.
He had also stepped off the project for just to become like a producer, but now he's back in it to be a director. So he's gonna have more.
Who's writing it?
I just had it in one of those articles.
I gotta say, as James looking this up, it looks interesting. I want to see the rest of the characters, because if you see at least the Geppetto and you see Pinocchio, it's definitely a non-Disney, which is nowadays traditional look at it, which I can't wait to see.
Oh, sure.
Well, it's Mark Gustafsson who is co-directing with him. I'm trying to find the writer, though. Okay.
So at least it's going to maintain whatever creativeness that they wrote down will probably maintain.
But he's also, and another one to keep your guys on out there for you guys, is a pre-production on Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson, too. It was also in Guillermo del Toro's plate. So that's another one to keep your eyes up. Yeah. But
interesting.
I'm still looking to find the writer of this, but this is one of those things that I am very excited about.
I wonder what the how this whole thing started. If they just said, "Hey, we want you to do these two things," like I wonder if their contract was going to run up on, and we have to do Pinocchio, otherwise we lose the rights to it or something.
Here we go. The writer is Carlo Collodi, and it's based on a Carlo Collodi novel.
Oh, okay. So I know nothing about that novel.
No, I don't either. I didn't even hear about that. This is the first time I heard of that. I don't think it was up there last time I was on here.
This is the same guy that did Pan's Labyrinth, right?
Yes,
right.
Guillermo del Toro.
I have a feeling he wanted to do this. I mean, this is a complete and utter guess.
Yeah.
But maybe he likes doing this genre. I mean, there's Pan's Labyrinth. I mean, there's that kind of mystical kind of storybook thing to it. Maybe he just likes.
Well, actually, it sounds like he's taking the actual traditional story of
really
of Carlo Collodi, because he's the guy. Also, Carlo Lorenzini, who was born in 1826, who actually wrote the story of Pinocchio. So he's sticking to the traditional story.
Oh, so this is the original. This is the old school.
Yeah.
This should be interesting. This is going to be a non-traditional. This is something I don't think the American audience has seen.
Well, and
this obviously has been updated. Hold on, guys.
You said 1800s or
1826. Daniel Radcliffe is going to be playing Pinocchio. Ron Perlman is Mangio Fuyuki.
Wait, repeat. Who's Ron Perlman?
Mangio Fuyuki, I think. Christopher Walken and Tom Watts. Yeah.
He was playing Geppetto.
Tom Watts. Yeah.
My first thought was Ron Perlman. Can the guy say no to anything?
That's what I was just thinking. I'm a little... Anyway, so yeah, I'm really excited about this one. So I just wanted to clarify with some of you guys out there about this Pinocchio's. It's actually not going to be live action. It's going to be stop motion. And even looking at the style that he's going with for stop motion, it's actually very intriguing, to say the least.
I got to say, I'm excited. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but the fact it's not live action has me more interested in it.
Yeah.
Because another live action Pinocchio is not something I personally want to see again.
Yeah.
But look, between all the Pixar and what everybody's done with stop motion and animation, I mean,
well, that's what he's going with.
Like, if it's not made for like an 8-year-old straight out, like I'll watch any of these movies because they're all fantastic.
Well, he did an interview with another interview, and he actually brought up the fact that he's very excited about the stop motion stuff that he's coming out these days, and he was comparing it to Tangled, which I haven't seen, but I need to.
Right. No,
and he was saying that there's
of the type of animation.
There's a little bit of stop motion and 3D in that, in Tangled, that he was just said is how things are supposed to be done, is what he actually said.
Wow, that's high praise. That's definitely...
So I need to check out Tangled. I actually want to check that one out, and I also want to see Brave, too.
So, James, Ryan, any final thoughts before we end this episode?
Just bloody happy that I finally got to see the new Batman. Waited a long damn time and was not disappointed, even though it was built up probably more than it should have been in my head.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, this was super hyped.
Fucking really, but God bless Chris Nolan.
Oh yeah, good job
involved in that movie.
Good job for the Batmans.
Yeah,
seriously,
well done,
Chris.
sirs.
Yeah.
So Ryan gave Dark Knight Rises a 4, gave the trilogy, which is Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises a 5. James gave Dark Knight Rises a 3 and the trilogy a 5. I gave the movie a 3 and the trilogy a 5. And you've been watching Real Flix Reviews. See you next week.
This episode of Old Guy Tech TV is brought to you by Ward's Automotive, specializing in Banks Power and Pack Brake, servicing your car or truck and specializing in diesel engines. Over 30 years of service, located in Diamond Springs, California. Give them a call at 530-626-5588.